I love traveling with my friends and family, but I've also found that solo traveling can be quite rewarding, offering you the opportunity for self-discovery and personal growth. So today I'd like to talk to you about solo traveling and what you can do to stay safe, be confident, and make the most out of your journey. In 2017, I went on my first solo trip to Stockholm, Sweden. I'd always been a little bit obsessed with Swedish culture. I love a couple of different Swedish authors. And you know, as a Gen Xer, who can forget Pippi Longstocking? I mean, a girl who lives in a house with a horse. You can't beat that, right? So I was really interested in going to Stockholm, but it's a little difficult to explain to your friends or your cousins, like, hey, let's go to this random country where I'm obsessed with these fictional characters. I figured that Stockholm would be a good destination because it's very safe. It has an excellent transportation system. They do speak English, so there wasn't a huge language barrier. And I just felt like for my first time traveling abroad by myself, this was a good option for me. Before booking your trip, it's important to spend some time researching the destination. Learn about the culture, the customs, and any potential safety concerns. Make a rough itinerary, including your accommodations and key attractions, to ensure that you have a clear idea of what to expect. Before I went on my trip to Stockholm, I watched a ton of YouTube videos and I did a lot of research on transportation and just getting the feel for different neighborhoods. Stockholm has a great public transportation system, including a train directly to the city center from the airport. I did a Google Maps search of different hotels that I was looking at. I made sure to also do a Google Street View before I booked, so that I had an idea of what the neighborhood and the surrounding areas look like. In the end, I chose a hotel that was directly in the city center and within walking distance of the central train station and the metro. The hotel also had a free breakfast buffet, and so I always knew that that was the one meal of the day that I didn't really have to worry about where or what I was going to eat. When traveling solo, carry only the essentials to help keep your load manageable. Use a crossbody bag for your valuables like your passport, your money, and any other important documents. Smart packing can make your travel experience much smoother. In 2018, I took I think it was my second solo trip to Amsterdam. At the time, I was working for Delta, and so not only did I travel for free, but I could also check my bags for free. But I was only going for a couple of days, and so I knew that being by myself and having to be on the trains and walk up and down stairs, I didn't want to have a lot of bulky luggage with me. And so I made sure that I carried, I think, just like a backpack and then my carry-on suitcase. When you're traveling, especially in Europe, where you may not have really paved roads, there could be cobblestone streets or uneven pavement, and you're dragging this suitcase, you know, through train stations and on and off buses. You just want to make sure that you can travel as light and as easily as possible, and that you're not weighed down with just all this stuff. You don't want to have to ask someone else for help, and you want to make sure that everything that you have, you're able to manage on your own. When you're traveling solo, safety is key. I always make sure that I'm back in my hotel before it gets dark and that I'm safe and sound and locked up. It's funny because when I was in Amsterdam, this backfired on me a little bit. I had been a little bit jet lagged. I had flown in that morning, checked into my hotel, like showered, changed, and then hit the street. Because I was only going to be there for 3 days, I didn't want to waste a whole day. And so about 6 or 7 o'clock, I made my way back to the hotel so that I could make sure that I was in before it got dark. I ended up falling asleep, and when I woke up, it was bright outside. And so I looked and I was like, oh wow, you know, I had a great sleep. I thought it was morning, and come to find out it was only around 11 p.m. So I didn't know that during the summer months in the Netherlands, the sun doesn't actually set until like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So I had rushed back to the hotel so that I could be in before dark, and I was in way before dark. But no matter what country you're in or what city you're in, you must always be mindful of your surroundings and trust your instincts. If something feels off, don't hesitate to remove yourself from that situation. I think it's so important to embrace the solo experience. I mean, I went all the way to Stockholm, Sweden because I was obsessed with a fictional character in a book. There aren't a lot of people that you can pick up the phone and call and go, hey, like I want to go hang out where this computer hacker in this fictional novel lives. Like, it's just not always a thing. Sometimes you just have different interests than your friends and family. I'm a person who loves museums. I love a hop-on, hop-off bus. I love just sitting and soaking in culture and trying new foods and trying different things. And so one of the things that I found with solo travel is you can do as much or as little as you want. I love a hop-on, hop-off bus. I think it's a great mode of transportation. It's fairly safe. They always hit the, sort of touristy areas. And so aside from, I think one time when I was in Rome, they're always pretty centrally located and it's pretty easy to get from one place to another. On my trip to Sweden, I actually got a 5-day, I think it's called like the Stockholm Pass or something. And that not only gave me the hop-on, hop-off bus, it gave me entrances to a bunch of attractions and museums. It also provided me with, I think, the metro and bus access. It did not provide me with the access to and from the airport. I had to pay for that separately. But I was able to use that pass through my whole week in Stockholm, and I didn't have to worry about transportation. I don't think I ever took an Uber or a taxi the whole time that I was there. So that card, and a lot of different cities have them, is really a good benefit, especially if you're traveling by yourself, because it's sort of like a one-stop shop and you don't have to continuously try to figure out or navigate your transportation. It also, I believe, came with like a skip the line. So when I arrived at a particular museum or a particular attraction, I was able to bypass the line, show my card, and I could go right in. Traveling alone is a unique opportunity for self-discovery. Take the time to enjoy your own company, meet new people, and immerse yourself in local culture. Embrace the freedom and spontaneity that solo travel offers and create memories that are exclusively yours. If you're nervous about solo travel, here are a few things that you can do to get started. First, start small. Choose a domestic location. Go for a weekend and just get the feel for being alone and out of town, traveling by yourself, flying by yourself, and having to navigate transportation on your own. Choose a country where you understand the language. For me, I chose countries where, although English wasn't the primary language, it was widely spoken, especially in the tourist areas. And so I knew I wasn't going to have any trouble communicating once I got there. Let's say you are going on a trip with your friends and family. Maybe go a few days early. That way you know that someone's going to show up and know where you are. So on my very first trip to South Africa, I went with my cousins, but they were all traveling from Missouri. And so I ended up flying by myself from LA to Cape Town. And I think I got there about 8 hours before they did. Most recently, I went to Greece on the Dave Koz cruise, and I knew that there were a couple of things that I wanted to do and I wanted to see that my cousin wasn't really that interested in. So I ended up flying about 2 or 3 days before they were due to arrive, and I was able to go to all the museums and go to the Parthenon and do all of the stuff that I wanted to do that I knew that she may not be that interested in. So if you go a few days early, you sort of have that feel of being alone, but you also have the comfort of knowing that eventually someone else is going to arrive and you won't be there by yourself the whole time. I really believe that solo travel is something that everyone should experience at least once in their life. It can be an eye-opening and soul-searching experience. How comfortable are you with being alone? How comfortable are you with silence? Because when you get back to your room at night, it's just you. It's just you in a room. And usually you're on the other side of the world. And so where you are, it might be, daytime, and where your family is or your significant other is, it might be nighttime. It's also good to learn, can you navigate a foreign country? Can you navigate a country where English isn't the primary language or your language isn't the primary language? Can you eat at a sit-down restaurant by yourself? That can be a very uncomfortable experience from time to time. It's just you sitting in a restaurant, nobody to talk to. Do you take a book? Do you look at your phone? What do you do? I often find those times the most rewarding because you're just sort of able to sit there and just take it all in. By stepping outside of your comfort zone and being comfortable with being uncomfortable, these are the ways that we can grow and develop as human beings. These are the ways that we learn who we are and what we're capable of. Thank you so much for watching. Drop me a note and let me know what was your first time traveling solo. If you haven't traveled solo yet, why not? And let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer them. And I will see you on the next video. Thanks. Bye.